Hello y'all, welcome. My name is Lauren and today I'm going to be talking about how to make your own Traveler's Company insert. So first things first, if you're like, I just need the information, here you are. I'll also put it in the description. The page count is a little bit different than a classic Traveler's Notebook, but this is what works for me. This is what I would recommend. And yeah, so there you are. And also today I'm going to be using Tomoe River paper, but you could also use Yamamoto Soliste. Don't know what any of those are. Oh wow, that was so loud. But this is a classic regular Traveler's Company insert. This has MD cream paper on it, very nice. Great paper. This one has Yamamoto Soliste. It's a little bit thicker. Let's see, are we focused a tiny bit? Yay! Okay. Stay. Yay! Alright, it's not gonna focus, but that's okay. But this is Yamamoto Soliste. It's like a little bit thicker. And then this is loose leaf Tomoe River Sanzen. So if you line up all of those together, obviously this one's like the skinniest because it's not filled, but you can definitely tell that the Soliste is like a little bit thicker. So for me, those are really thin. All of them are really thin fountain pen friendly papers, which is the most important thing for me. But I do prefer the loose leaf Tomoe River Sanzen, even over the MD cream, even though that is a great paper as well. All right, so those are the types of papers. Oh yeah, and I also have it conveniently off to the side. I got all of mine from Jet Pens. This is what the Sanzen paper looks like. Obviously, I'm storing all of my little cutoffs and scraps in here now, but this is a great place to get it. This is what the Soliste looks like. I love their labels, beautiful, gorgeous, so professional. And then as far as my cover pages go, I use MD Grid, which looks like this. Ta-da! I think this is a giant A4, there we go, A4 gridded. And so yeah, other supplies, we have this hammer. Apparently it's like the smallest hammer in existence. My husband got it for me and he said he didn't even know they make hammers this small, so there you go. I have bookbinder's needles, and technically you should really use an awl for what we're gonna do, an AWL, but I don't have one. Yeah, I really should get one, honestly. So yeah, so it's going to be very scary for both of us, but I'm just going to use this giant hammer on these tiny needles. Don't recommend that, obviously, so be better than I am and get the proper tool. But you can also definitely use just like a regular embroidery needle, just go like one by one and slowly punch through the paper. And then I also have this fancy stapler. You could use any kind of stapler, really. You can also use even fancier like bookbinding, I forget what they're called, staplers, but I like this one. It's cute, it's fun, it works for me. And then at the end, we'll trim down with, of course, an Exacto knife. And surprise, this actually does not hold pens, it holds Exacto knife blades, hooray. Okay, and then I just want to go over quickly what we're doing. So it's kind of hard to conceptualize. I feel like I always need one of these to figure it out, but one individual piece of paper is always going to be 4 pages in a saddle stitch binding, the way that we're going to do it. So basically all traveler's notebooks are kind of like sandwich style with papers layered on top of each other. You could have some books that are bound with signatures, which means pages kind of like are like this. This is a very, very oversimplification of what's going on, but for me, I always like to visualize the pages. So here we go. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's physically impossible to have a book with a page count that isn't divisible by 4, pretty much. Just so you know, if you want to plan, have a really complicated spreadsheet and go through your pages, it has to be divisible by 4. All right. Should we do a fancy transition? I feel like I've never done one of these before, but let's see. All right. Oh, also, of course, I forgot to talk about like half of the supplies. So this is a cutting mat I got from Michael's. Also don't really recommend it. It's fine. It gets the job done. And then this is a little mini paper trimmer guy, very cute, that I got from Staples. Again, probably would like to invest in a better one at some point, but works for me for now. And then also, I think I said the cover page I use MD Grid. That's actually the inside cover. So the first page here is MD Grid. but for the actual covers themselves, I have this French paper company sample pack of paper that I got like a million years ago, and I'm still slowly working my way through it. I don't really like to use the thicker papers because I'm kind of lazy and don't really fold the paper properly all the time, and when that happens, you get this like buckling that kind of bothers me and I don't like. So I typically use like thinner papers, like this is a little bit thinner. Really, you just gotta try it and see what you like. The easiest way to kind of gauge paper weight is like to flick it with your thumb. And then you can kind of see if it's a little bit thicker, a little bit thinner. I think this is probably thinner. Actually, no, I lied. This is actually kind of like the same thickness as those other two. But for now, for today, this lime yellow one is like really, really thin. You could actually see the MD grid through it. And yeah, I don't know if it's picking it up on camera, but yeah, it's really thin, pretty much the same weight as the MD grid, just because why not? I just wanted to try it out. So yeah. Oh, and also, I lied again. This actually, the notebook I'm making today for myself has a variety of all three of those papers I talked about. So I am still using MD grid as the inside cover, but I think I have, yeah, some like other sheets in it kind of mixed in throughout. I just wanted a little bit of variety. And also I did like the Soliste, but I just didn't like a whole insert full of it. So there also is some Soliste mixed in here as well. Okay. And then French Paper Company is actually an American company. So they have whatever the American size is. I don't know. This is just 8.5 by 11 letter. But the Japanese papers come in what did I just say? A4. So they're actually a tiny bit longer than the like American papers, just so you know. But luckily you could trim down everything to be the correct size, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so first things first, let's get to measuring and trimming. Wow, I feel like I got this so dirty. You probably are like, what the hell are you even looking at? You can't see anything. Okay, maybe we'll do a time lapse. Maybe I'll just skip ahead. But anyway, let me know what I did. Comment down below. Okay, and then I have my cheat sheet, measuring. All right. Oh, and if you're wondering why the cover is slightly larger than the inside pages, it's because like all paper has a thickness, even though it seems really small. And so when it kind of builds up like the way we're doing, basically if you unbound it, the innermost paper is going to be like slightly shorter than the outermost paper. You'll see it when we trim it, but it just overhangs. So making the cover like a little bit bigger just makes things easier to trim, which is very vague, but I promise you it'll make sense. Okay. Let's see, I usually mess up at least a couple of pages, but hopefully this time with you watching, I'll get it together. Okay. Wow, that's so off, but you know what? That's okay. You can always cut down more, but you can't add paper. Okay, then this, for like smaller pieces like this, I just use an Exacto knife sometimes because it's a little tricky. Okay. Wow, the first one. And then it's like very hard to kind of tell which way you're supposed to fold it in half. Obviously it's like slightly wider, that's where you want to fold it in half, but I always like to have like an actual insert on hand just so I can like quickly see the height, because like obviously this is the right height and then this is not the right height. So that's helpful to kind of gauge where the heck I should be folding. Okay, so let's fold there. Beautiful. Wow, 1 page done out of 17. All right. And this, the Japanese paper, I believe is like the correct, what is it? Width? Yeah. Yeah, it's about like 8. It's like slightly bigger, I believe, than what we need it to be, but we can just let it rock. Okay, so I usually do the inner pages in sets of 4 and trim them that way just because, yeah, it goes faster. It's, sometimes it gets messed up. We'll see if that happens today, but usually it's all right. And since you trim down things anyway, it, you can kind of cover up your mistakes that way. Oh yeah, so here you go. So these are all 3 of the different papers, kind of subtly different. The Yamamoto Soliste is a little bit more off-white than the Tomoe River Sanzen, even though it all is technically off-white paper, but yeah. And this is like so much thinner. Okay, let's see. Okay, and now let's see, are these all this? Hooray, I didn't mess up yet. And these, okay, so I need to fold it this way. And how do I like to do this? We'll just do it like this. Okay, we'll start with the inside and then we'll flip it. Anyway, for me, because I have a specific order that I want the pages in, there's just a specific way I want to fold it, so that's easier. But for you, if you have all the same paper, it doesn't really matter. Okay. You could also use a bone folder, which sounds so metal, right? Like, oh my god, a bone folder. But for these, since the paper is so thin, it doesn't really make a difference. I mean, it sounds cool to do it, but it doesn't really matter. Actually, let me grab one. So especially if you had like a thicker cover, I would recommend using one of these guys. I'm pretty sure this is plastic, not actual bone, even though that would be pretty metal. But yeah, they just make folding a little bit easier because they kind of like score the paper for you already. Okay. God, it's so hard. I like just checked it and I already feel like I'm messing it up. Okay. So it's like this, then I fold up. It's just like one of those things that's really hard for me to visualize and keep track of. Okay. Let's see. All right, so there's everything all folded. Wow, I feel like that took me so much less time than it normally does. Probably because I'm usually watching TV. That went a lot faster. Okay, so here you go. And here, as you can see, like already, there's a little bit of overhang. So don't worry, we'll get rid of that. And it's also very slightly taller than the cover page, just because I'm sure if you got like Japanese cover stock, it'd be a lot easier just because they would already be the same height, but width technically, the way you buy the paper. Okay, Now, phase two. Should we do another transition? I don't know. All right, I'm back. So next up, I like to use these little Bulldog clips, which also weren't in the supplies overview. I'm so sorry. But I like to use these clips to kind of hold down the paper for this next part, just because it makes it a little bit easier. And since this paper is so thin, I also use some just like regular copy paper to kind of protect it from the clips. If you had thicker paper, you probably wouldn't need to do this, but for me, it's just like a little bit of extra security. Okay, so let's tear this. Okie dokes. I know, and this is gonna look real weird, but I promise it'll make sense. Or maybe it won't, and you'll think this step is really dumb, which it could be. Okay. Okay, and then my next set of notes, oh, it's also right here. So now we're doing the staples. As you can see, these guys. Da-da-da-da. You can either do it from the interior of the book or the spine, the back. For me, I like to go from the spine. It sounds so metal. I like to go from the spine. Okay. So I do 1 3/8. Let's measure that out. Okay, then we could take our stapler, and these are like cute little Italian staples. So I use 4 of them, which is double the work, but I just think since they're like a little bit shorter, I like to use more. And these, you could just use like regular over-the-counter staples. I believe Travelers does use like specialty bookbinding staples that are a little bit taller, but this has worked for me so far. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, hooray. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up these staples, measure it, punch the holes, put the staple in, close it back together. Now I know what you're thinking, why can't I just take 4 staples and bend them into like the book? Why do I have to pre-staple them? It just makes things easier. You know, everything has a memory, metal has a memory, and it's gonna be like much harder to bend if it's not already bent, but it's easier to unbend it and then rebend it, which I know sounds insane. And also I do recommend doing this 1 by 1. I know you're thinking, why can't I just unbend them all and then like, you know, use a random amount? But I like to unbend one, measure it, put it in, rebend it, and then do the same, just because you open them up slightly differently and it's just going to be slightly different every time and be more frustrating. So just go 1 by 1. It seems like it'll take forever, but I promise you it will actually make things more streamlined. Oh, and I have to grab pliers. All right, there we go. 1 down. Okay, let's measure. You know what? I'm gonna take off the big ones. They're just like way too disruptive. Okay, now we're gonna take our binder's needles. You actually just need 1. You don't need all of the needles. I've actually had these since college. Isn't that crazy? They look brand new. I've actually used them a good amount too, so great investment, I guess. Okay. And then our lovely hammer. Let's see if I don't, hopefully I won't destroy my phone in this process. So I'll probably trim this out, but basically I'm gonna take my needle into this tiny hole and then just hammer it to punch it through. Oh, you know, actually, I was wondering, I was like, can I just do this by pushing it myself? And I don't know, maybe with other papers, like the cover paper was just too thick, but ta-da, I did it. So yeah, there you go. It is possible. And as you can see, it's like slightly off from the center. You know, I'm not gonna say that's okay. It's kind of sloppy of me, but you know, I'm just gonna roll with it. If it really bothers you, you can like fiddle it with a whole bunch and kind of like wiggle it a little bit. But yeah, it works for me. Okay, so now we got our holes. Now we're gonna take our staple and push it through. Okay, and this is always like the most annoying part. You can use a pencil eraser to bend it back. And then, you know what, we still have our hammer out, so why don't we, actually probably some padding, hammer these guys down, or just kind of press them, yeah. Give them a good tap. So that looks pretty crummy, I know, but hey. I always feel like Amy Santiago and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like why even make your own inserts? It's like slightly less money, but so much more time. So yeah, if you just want to use your worthless time to make your inserts, you can save, I don't know, maybe, yeah, a couple of bucks. Okay, so now we're gonna do that 3 more times, but again, if you have different staples or, you know, aren't insane like me, you could just do 1 more up here, but I like to do 4. Okay. And the space between staples is 1/8 of an inch. Always reassuring when you lose a needle. Okay. Do you see it? Comment down below if you see my bookbinder's needle somewhere on the screen. Okay, but you know what? I'm just gonna grab another one. Wow, I feel like this is honestly the worst binding I've ever done. The pressure, but you know what? It's not that serious. It's paper. I'm having a good time. At least that's what I'm gonna tell myself and you. Okay. Wow, I felt like those top 2 went so much better than the bottom 2. Just the way it goes sometimes. Okay. All right, last up is to trim everything down. You always want to use a new Exacto blade for this, just because you do. Okay, and pro tip, never move your ruler until you're like absolutely certain that you're done cutting, because if you try and get back there, it just won't ever work. All right, let's see, is this the back? Yeah, okay. So for me, I like to have this little corner piece like be the front, and there we go. That is the traveler's insert that we made, hooray! And just to show you what a completed one looks like. Dun, dun, dun. This is what I typically do on that cover page. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you try out any of these dimensions. Let me know if you buy the right tools. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!